Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tennis Weekly with Joel, Kim, and Chris. On today's Australian Open draw reaction,
Djokovic lands in Sinner's half as Alcaraz draws easier path.
Gauff and Swiatek handed tricky routes.
And we reflect on the inaugural 1 point slam.
Kim, Chris, today is the 15th of January, and we are here to catch up on the Australian Open draws at Tennis Weekly HQ, brought to you by AO Travel and Experiences. On this episode, we're going to be diving into the men's and women's singles draws quarter by quarter, as well as making our champion predictions. We've also got some bold predictions we have made. Collector Set is back, and we will be unveiling our player picks in the second half. So do stick around and look forward to that. There will be a chance to win a very special prize. We're going to be unveiling that in the second half. Plus, we're going to be talking about the slam that has already happened, the 1 point slam. Lots and lots of talk on social media, but we're going to be doing our own Tennis Weekly review of that. Our Australian Open coverage is brought to you by AO Travel and Experiences.
AO Travel and Experiences, powered by STH Group, are the official and exclusive provider of premium travel, experiences, and hospitality packages for the Australian Open.
Proudly partnering with Tennis Australia since 2022 to bring tennis enthusiasm around the world closer to the action than ever before, providing an unparalleled way for travellers to experience this iconic event.
Whether you are a die-hard tennis fan or simply looking for a unique vacation, AO Travelling Experiences packages combine world-class tennis with unmatched luxury.
AO Travel and Experiences do all the hard work for you, acting as your one-stop shop for luxury accommodation, world-class tickets to the AO, on-site hospitality, and experiences outside of the tennis, showing you the very best of Melbourne, all bundled together for your convenience.
Choose your own AO adventure with their Create Your Own options. Choose your preferred dates, selected hotel, tickets, and experiences. Otherwise, reach out to their team of experts who will organise the ultimate AO trip for you.
Learn more and book your tickets through AO Travel and Experiences at ozopentravel.com. That's ozopentravel.com.
Secure your courtside seats today and get ready to soak up the electric energy of Melbourne during the summer.
The link is in the description. But guys, it is the first slam of the year. It is in Melbourne, as always. Are we feeling ready for it?
It's going to be a hectic few weeks, isn't it? I'm mentally preparing myself, and we're in the UK, so it means late nights, early mornings.
Early mornings.
Yeah, you have to surrender to lack of sleep, especially because we're doing daily episodes this year. But Joel, I'm surprised you haven't already mentioned it because I'm ready. Sloane Stephens is ready. She's in the main draw.
What a great result.
It is great. She's saying she's playing to have no regrets. And, she's up against Karolina Pliskova in round one. And I think there will be no regrets in that one for her either, potentially.
Oh, that's an old school matchup.
That's like 10 years ago, like retro.
No, she's very much still an active player. She's not evolved away, Kim. She's evolved back. But you may have heard at the start of the episode that we do have a sponsor for Australian Open coverage. We're very, very pleased to be working with AO Travel and Experiences. And throughout the fortnight, you'll be hearing different parts of their offering and different things that you can look forward to, especially if you'd like to go in 2027. So a big thank you to our sponsor. And you'll be seeing prizes from them as well throughout the fortnight. And we have our first one that we'll be unveiling as a collector set prize. So it might be that you go without a mug. If you really want a mug later on, I'm sure we can figure it out. But surely the prize we'll unveil later will trump that. So do stick around for that.
Yes, very much looking forward to revealing our collector set picks later on. And we'll be going through the men's and women's draws as always. But we do have something to kind of review and round up, even though this is, a preview episode, because a slam has already happened. And that was the Australian Open $1 million 1 point slam, where 1 million Aussie dollars was up for grabs. And it was, one of a kind, first time this has ever been done event where you had sort of actual tennis players like Jannik Sinner and Zverev and Anisimova, etc., as well as regular people from the general public, essentially battling it out to win this quite phenomenal amount of money. It's £496,835, just to put that into kind of British context. And an amateur only went and won it. Jordan Smith, who I believe is a tennis coach, so he's not, just being pulled off the street. He won a qualification in New South Wales, got his chance to, compete at the 1 Point Slam, beat some actual top players en route, and ended up beating Joanna Garland, who's WTA player, ranked in the sort of hundreds in the final. I mean, what on earth did you make of all this? This is just sort of like, it's almost, you could make it like a Hollywood film, I think. It's just so random. But yeah, I mean, forget Battle of the Sexes. I thought this was far more entertaining.
Marketing genius, whoever came up with this idea. I thoroughly enjoyed myself watching it. I think the players all had great times. There was big crowds as well. I just actually loved watching the players watch the matches. It just felt like so kind of authentic and genuine. And that sort of mix between, amateur and pros, male and female players, it really just, I think, showcased like the best of tennis. So yeah, I absolutely loved it.
I loved
also
Alcaraz's reactions. Like, sorry, Chris. Alcaraz. Did you see some of his in the
He was
moment?
so animated.
It's like us watching him play tennis. He's sort of gripped by it. But yeah, Chris, what were your thoughts on it? Did you have a particular highlight?
Well, I was just going to say, I hadn't really registered just the caliber of players that were playing, or the fact this was open to people of all different abilities to qualify and play. So I think that was something that I thought was really exciting. I think I like the dynamics of it, because normally, we say some of these top players aren't as clutch as they could be, but actually, nerves of steel came from some of the slightly lower ranked players, or kind of the amateur was the one who was able to, really put it out on the day. So I think I just love the fact that the nature of it meant that you could never know what was going to happen. And it really did level the playing field, no matter what your background was, what your gender was, what your experience was. I mean, we saw Jannik Sinner fail to get a serve in, the most clutch at the moment, probably.
I've got to say, I wondered if that was scripted, because when I did see the headlines,
he got an order.
I like,
let Jordan win.
I've got to say, the headlines felt like, when I read them when they happened, I was like, it felt a little bit too good to be true. But at the same time, maybe that is the element of luck. It feels to me like I think there's like the rock, paper, scissors, like world championships. And I always wonder, like, how do you prepare for something like that?
And I feel comparing the two formats, Joel.
I feel like with this event, like, yeah, there is a little bit of luck there. Your opponent, because you only had one serve, they might fault and then you might go through. I really loved that element of it. And there was a great quote, I thought, from Arthur Rindernet, who did exactly that. He had one serve. Maybe he didn't realise the rules, but he faulted and he was out just like that. And he was interviewed afterwards and he said, well, you go big or go home. And I go home, and the crowd absolutely loved it, and I laughed along as well.
He needs to learn the meaning of 1 point, But yeah, they did only have, the top players only had like single serves. But I also thought it was a bit like a Saturday night game show, because the Jordan Smith, who won, and the Queensland state champion Alec Reverente, who's also an amateur, they fought it off to do a separate head-to-head to win a brand new car. So it's a bit like, I don't know, the generation game or something, sort of on the spot prizes.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was happening. It's like, you get a car, you get $1 million. Yeah. I would say, though, I'd like to see it again. I think I would be very excited to see it. I think a lot more players would sign up for it. Did you see that Taylor Fritz was watching from home and thought,
was he getting FOMO?
He was like, why did I pass on this? And even if you don't need the money, I think kind of the FOMO was real, as you say, Joel, that a lot of the players were having a great time. They all stayed to watch it. I mean, that must be a sign you're onto a winner there in terms of the format. The fact that you've got players openly saying, damn, I wish I played this event. Yeah, when Joanna Garland's taking out Alexander Zverev and Nick Kyrgios back to back, I think that's going to raise some eyebrows in the format. The real
battle of the sexes, isn't it? Garland getting the job done, where Sabalenka.
I think people are rejoicing.
Well, it is interesting you talk about that, because we had those really complicated and odd sort of levelers brought in for that battle of the sexes format, with 9% smaller court on Sabalenka's side, and actually, as you said, Chris, like 1 point, one serve. These are better levelers in terms of bringing pure entertainment.
Yeah, I think so. But also in terms of the actual leveling of the playing field, I think you could display some of the resilience and some of the mental fortitude that the women have on tour, even if physically there are always going to be differences. I think that was what was so great, is that it was genuinely a level playing field and everyone enjoyed it. And I think that's not necessarily the case for the Battle of the Sexes, if you ask me. So I actually probably preferred this to the mixed doubles at the US Open. I'm going to put it out there.
Ooh.
I think other Grand Slams might need to up their game.
Yeah,
Well,
I think they've nailed the format almost with this. It's sort of short, sharp, sweet.
No one got injured.
Yeah, it's literally like, I mean,
One
you could get injured on one point, but
next point
less
wins.
Likely.
Yeah.
I mean, it is interesting because I do think it's going to put pressure on the French Open and Wimbledon in terms of this build-up week. You know, it's clear that there's a lot of appetite to make more of this moment. You know, we saw with those kind of statistics how many people just want to get involved with these events. 30,000 on the first day reported by Tennis Australia. So I'll be interested to see if the French Open and Wimbledon kind of think about, right, well, US Open's got mixed doubles, Australian Open's got the 1 point slam. What do we have? Because Wimbledon, I think, is really languishing behind. And the more these sorts of things come up, I think the more pressure there will be on the All England Club to innovate and stick with the times.
Ooh, that's an interesting prospect. Well, they are trying to innovate in terms of expand. I'm not sure they're thinking about expanding Wimbledon to 3 weeks. I guess it would have qualifying on the same site, and that does help get that sort of the vibrancy of 3 weeks, you know, fan week. I think there's a lot of hype around this. I feel
like that's the best we can hope for.
I think probably that would be the closest we might get. I don't think there's going to be like a strawberries and cream eating contest the players are going to do.
That's a great shout.
You know? Kim, you'd have a good go at that. If it was Pims, I think Joel would win.
I need there to be something that we can get our teeth into, like literally from this.
Strawberries and pasta eating contest.
Well, maybe Kim, Iga will get it out. It's the
Kim,
Australian
you could take on
summer.
Iga in the final. It's like amateur strawberries and pasta eater. Kim,
I picked some lovely strawberries when I was near Melbourne, like before. I went out to, I think, Mornington Peninsula, went to a strawberry farm and picked some. Maybe Iga could go down there and get herself a nice
So the
bowl.
Australian Open is also going to do a strawberry eating contest.
Well,
is that where we're landing?
I mean,
the one strawberry slam.
Why not? But no, we should now proceed on to the main draws, because we, you know, could talk about the 1 point slam and strawberries and pasta, you know, forever. But let's look at the men's draw, because Carlos Alcaraz, who thoroughly enjoyed the 1 point slam, he is going into his first slam proper without Juan Carlos Ferrero in his camp, be it, you know, there or remotely. And it's not the best slam for Carlos, is it? Quarterfinals are his best result here, which he's done the last 2 years. But, you know, going into this, looking at his draw, what do you make of it? I think he's got an all right sort of first few rounds till he gets to maybe the quarters onwards. So, but it's hard to say where he's going to be at with the new setup. Joel, what are your immediate thoughts when you looked at Carlos's draw?
Yeah, I don't think he could have asked for a better draw on paper. I think he's got a few matches in there to begin with. I mean, Adam Walton first up. I think there are a few matches there that can ease him into the competition and perhaps get him used to a setup with his team that he's going to be unfamiliar with. You know, this has never happened before. It hasn't happened for a long time. The fact he hasn't got Ferrero in his box. I think that might be more telling, in the second week, perhaps, when we get to kind of more seasoned players or experienced players when he's playing other seeds, whether, that is going to have an impact. But certainly in the first week, I don't see any big issues for him. Mute, I think that would be a fun matchup, two of the kind of biggest entertainers on the court. But again, I still really see Alcaraz as one winner, and he really should be doing better than kind of his previous of a best of a quarterfinal in this event, given his draw.
I think he'll also want to come through sort of quite efficiently, won't he? Especially if it's hot conditions. You know, we've seen him lose the odd set, and yes, it's very entertaining and takes viewers
Wimbledon,
off the journey.
Fognini.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that was a 5 set, wasn't it? That really went the distance.
I know. I mean, looking at the other section of his, well, on a wider sense, he avoids Sinner, of course, and also Djokovic, who falls in Sinner's half. So he doesn't have them to contend with. Possibly semi-finals would be either Zverev, FAA, Medvedev, etc. But before that, he would have to likely battle it out against either Alex De Minaur or Alex Bublik. They're the sort of two standouts.
Battle of the Alexes, do you think, Kim?
Battle of the Alexes. Well, although Alex De Minaur does have a bit of a funny opener against Berrettini.
Berrettini leads the head-to-head 3-2. I checked on that. That is a very tough opener.
It is tough. I was also thinking it's tough for De Minaur, given the pressure there always is in Australia for him to perform. So it's probably a good test to see how the nerves go. I think Berrettini hasn't played very much. I was looking at his form, hasn't played yet this year. He obviously had a great run in the Davis Cup where we thought maybe that could lift him going into this season. So it really is all to play for. You just have to hope that Berrettini's fit and that could be a real contest, because some of these matches, I think it is box office, especially when you're in Australia and Alex De Minaur's playing, and he really is obviously very fired up in those moments. But the Battle of the Alexes, that reminds me of that match at Roland Garros where Bublik came back from 2-0 down to beat him. I mean, there's scar tissue there as well. And Bublik is playing probably the best tennis of his career, you'd have to say. So if you're De Minaur, would you be very unhappy with the draw? Would you be concerned? Or would you just look only at the Berrettini match?
I think you got to take it one match at a time, because he could also face Medvedev in the second round, which I don't think is particularly easy either. What I was going to add with Bublik is I do think he's playing some of the best tennis of his career at the moment. Does best of 5 change things? Because I still wonder if there's a bit of a question mark there. And, he's also got Jenson Brooksby in the first round. Jenson Brooksby currently is set down, I think, to Sebastian Baez in one of the tournaments on at the moment. But yeah, does best of 5 change things in terms of the Bublik form, or do we think Hong Kong champion, he's in the best position possible? He's not got a great record at the Australian Open. His best performance is round 2.
You didn't seem very convinced, Joel, by this. I think Bublik's attention span can be questioned, but I think he's coming into his own. I think he wouldn't want to be going up the rankings and not going further in majors. So I think that's going to be a really big goal for him. I think he's very happy with the milestones, like getting into the top 10. But if you are playing this well, you've got to think, you know what, I can go even higher up in the rankings. So I think he's as motivated as he's ever been. And I think that will translate really well to 5 sets.
Yeah, I think putting his poor Aussie Open record aside, I think he'll get to that Alex De Minaur battle up stage. I think. She says, let's have a look at the other section. So quarter 2, if you like. Sasha Zverev is the highest seed in this quarter. We've got Britain's Cam Norrie as well, who is seeded. Andrei Rublev is there. Daniil Medvedev, who's possibly having a bit of a resurgence, and obviously former finalist several times at the AO. We've got Learner Tien in there as well, who did wonders there here at the AO a few years ago, and FAA as well in at the 7th seed. This quarter feels a bit more open, a bit more interesting, shall we say, and British interest as well, I suppose, with probably our best hope with Draper out. What were your initial thoughts when you looked at the names that have fallen in this section, Chris?
Well, I was going to say Zverev. I mean, although Diallo did go out to Vavasori, I think, in Adelaide, so not the best form. I mean, he's been seeded at sort of slams before. He's a very good player. He's had a career high ranking, in the 30s, I think. So dangerous opener is what I'm saying. I have got that on potential upset alert, and it doesn't get easier with Alexander Muller or Popperin. So tough section. Cam Norrie also is a tricky customer. And given Zverev's form, I'm not thinking this is necessarily doesn't feel like it's his quarter to me. I think there are other players who potentially are in better form. I think Medvedev we've mentioned. And I think it'd be really interesting to see how Felix builds on his season, because I was also surprised to see him at 7. I think obviously he won a tournament to start the year last year. So maybe that's why he's dropped in the ranking slightly. But it feels like he's more in form than Zverev in this section.
I mean, I suppose it doesn't really matter too much if you're in the sort of 3 to 8 seeds, does it? Too much. But yeah.
Depends if you play Sinner in the quarterfinals.
Which neither of these will,
No,
because
so they're
they've
doing well.
avoided Sinner. They've probably, got the one they would have preferred, more of a crack at Alcaraz, who obviously hasn't got as good a record here as Sinner. Joel, who's kind of speaking to you? Who's coming out of this section, do you think?
I'm looking at Daniil Medvedev. I'm actually hoping maybe we get what I want to say is one of the rivalries that just kept on giving in 2025. Daniil Medvedev versus Learner Tien.
Learner Tien again.
Just blockbuster after blockbuster after blockbuster. They could potentially face each other in round 4. So I'm looking at that. And I also thought it was quite funny because Benjamin Bonzi, nemesis of Medvedev, is in this quarter as well, unseeded, but he is a little bit further away from Medvedev. So Medvedev can breathe a sigh of relief perhaps from that respect. But I think I'm looking at Medvedev. I think Zverev has got a tough draw. I think we'll know where his level is at early on in the tournament. And I would put all eyes on Medvedev personally.
I'm going big on Medvedev, I think, in my predictions. So that will be revealed shortly. I think it's just time for him to get back up there, isn't it, Medvedev? And people may not be expecting
It's got good memories at the Australian Open as well. Although maybe not with that Rafa final, but
the Sinner match where
the Rafa
he had
final.
chances with Sinner as well
4 years ago. Gosh, that was momentous.
Does feel like a long time ago, Kim, doesn't it?
A lifetime ago. I know. I mean, they could get Roger and Rafa and Andy back for the 1 point slam.
Well, Roger is back. He's having a live...
Kim, was Marat Safin not good enough for you?
Well,
you don't have the same affinity to him, maybe, Kim.
But because that if they did win, they could just donate that to their foundations.
Yeah, they could.
I'm sure that AO probably tried. I'm sure you wouldn't not.
Their appearance fee would probably bankrupt the $1 million sum.
Yeah, imagine if they took it really seriously. Like Rafa's like this 1 point, and he's doing all of his usual routines, the water bottles.
Yeah. Prevarications. Right, quarter 3, we are going into the section that contains a certain Novak Djokovic, although he is the top seed in this section. We've also got Lorenzo Musetti, the 5th seed. We've got a few Czech players thrown in there, Jakub Mensik and Jiří Lehečka.
This is a stacked
Stefanos
quarter, I would say.
Brandon Nakashima, one of my faves. Hubert
Hurkacz
Hurkacz as well.
Yeah. Yes, dangerous floater.
Stan the man.
Yes.
Stan the man, unseeded.
Final AO.
Grigor Dimitrov, unseeded.
Yep.
Goodness.
Where do we start?
It's a lot.
I mean, who is coming
We've got to start,
this?
Kim, with the fact that RBA, Roberto Bautista Agut, and PCB, Pablo Carreño Busta are in here. How are they still making main draws?
The Spanish acronyms keep on going. I mean, they're stalwarts, aren't they? It's great to see. Is Djokovic coming through this? He's got a slight neck injury, we believe, sort of at the moment. He pulled out of an event, precautionary perhaps, but and he said he struggles with going deep at slams now, in his old age. How far will he get looking at this draw, do you think?
I'm not worried, though, I was going to say.
Yeah.
I just think when you look at the nature of the draw and you just think of Novak Djokovic last year, I mean, Joel, you're more worried than I am when it comes to whether Djokovic can repeat the 4 semi-finals, aren't you?
Yeah, I was surprised how consistent he was at the Grand Slams last year, and I'll be equally impressed if he can maintain that consistency. I mean, he hasn't played since the start of November. He had that great win against Musetti in Athens. I'd look at his draw, and I don't think it's too challenging early on. I think Nakashima perhaps could pose him maybe some problems in round 3, but I do think there could be stern examinations from players like Jakub Mensik. So I'm not totally confident, and the fact that there's been talk of a neck injury, it was described as being out of sorts in his kind of warm-up practice in Melbourne, I think against Medvedev, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, I'm I'm not confident. I'm just not confident.
Okay, well, I will let you have that, but I think never count out Novak Djokovic, and especially if he hasn't played the week before. Maybe physically he's pretty fit, even if he has got a bit of a niggle at the moment. He has played himself out of injury and into form at slams previously. Someone, Joel, who really needs to play himself into form for you especially is, I mean, Taylor Fritz.
Yes.
We haven't even mentioned
Yes.
him. He's in the top part of this section of the draw, could potentially play a fourth round match against Musetti. And also in the mix here is Stefanos Tsitsipas. So, Joel, are we going to see a resurgence from any of the players in this section, especially Mr. Fritz?
I think Fritz has one of the biggest question marks. Again, I think he's actually got an all right opening to the draw. So I think he is in a situation where even if he is like out of form or struggling for performances, I certainly think he can play himself into form. But I think he's going to have to get there sooner rather than later, because if he faces Yuri Lehechka, I think in round 3, that is going to be a very, very stern examination. I think I'd be more optimistic if I was Stefanos Tsitsipas, because I think he's playing tennis that's a little bit better than the 31st seed that he has now become. And I think he's in quite a good part of the draw. Could face potentially Musetti later on. I would be more optimistic if I was Tsitsipas.
I was going to say one more question. This is for you, Kim. The battle of the one-handed backhands. We've got Tsitsipas, Dimitrov, and Musetti all in the same section.
And Wawrinka.
Tasty.
Yes, and Wawrinka. Are any of them going to play each other? And who do you think is going to go the furthest?
I could see a Dimitrov Tsitsipas, but I don't know if I think Matteo might get the better of Dimitrov. But I would love to see Dimitrov Tsitsipas. That's quite old school as well, isn't it?
That would get a good call, I think. Fan favourite.
Yeah, I mean, I can see Tsitsipas having a little bit of a renaissance here.
I would love that to happen, only if Dimitrov brings out one of those blindingly garish tracksuits that he brought out a few years ago. Yes. It was so great.
There was ones that looked like they had eyes on and all these scribbles on them. Not sure they were for me, though.
I love all those like kit reveals, and they're like about actually what they're wearing on the court, and I'm like, show us what they're warming up in. What's their tracksuit? What's their tracksuit game like?
I feel like he can pull it off, though, can't he? You know,
yeah, they can. They got a lot.
It was like the polka
swagger.
dots. Was it polka
dots?
It was
polka dots. Yeah, it was. It was pretty intense. I was going to say, in the 1 point slam, I kind of loved this. One of the amateurs had gone out and bought Sabalenka's Australian Open dress, so she wore it at the Australian Open before Sabalenka did. And I thought that was brilliant.
Love it. I mean, just a thought on Hubert Hurkacz, obviously a United Cup champ. He's obviously not seeded here, been out for a long time and not, where he should be. Talon Griegsborg is the first seed he could face. He does have Zizou Bergs in the first round. That could be an interesting first round. But any thoughts on Hurkacz coming through as a dark unseeded horse?
Yeah, we haven't talked about him that much in this section because there's so much to talk about. I think when someone has come back, best of 3 format, I think what Joel made the point, best of 5 format is very different. You have to hope he's serving well. He looks physically so strong. I keep seeing pictures of him in the gym. It looks like he's kind of gone like part
gun show.
Yeah, from Hubie to like Terminator. It definitely is a bit of a shift from his persona from before. So I think if he's able to kind of maintain fitness, there's going to be a real chance for him here. And I think the nature of the draw and the part of the draw he's in and the question marks around some of the players, you wouldn't bet against him going deep again because he's done it before. He's made quarterfinals before. He's made semi-finals. And we've seen some great tennis from him this year.
Absolutely. Well, let's see. And final quarter, obviously, we do have the reigning champion, Jannik Sinner, here as the second seed at the bottom. Also got Ben Shelton, seed 8. Casper Ruud's in there. Shapovalov. João Fonseca.
Kim, you've got to say it. Who else is here? Anyone caught your eye?
Well, Gail Monfils is here.
Say Jaume Munar.
Yes,
Come
also
on.
Jaume Munar. Also Marin Cilic. There's quite a lot of interesting characters, shall we say, that I quite like.
Hard court specialist Sebastian Baez is also in this part of the draw.
Honestly, he's tearing it up on the hard courts of Australia.
What is going on there? Does he just think it's a is that what's happened? His mental shift? It's like, I'm playing on a clay court. I'm playing on a clay court.
Well, I mean,
visualize
a set up on Ben Shelton at the moment over in Auckland is truly wild as a concept. I mean, he's causing havoc to the US hardcourt top 10 players. Are we going to take this one seriously, though? because
You mean this quarter, because it's just Sinner's to steamroll through?
I mean, we can invent some narratives, but do we think someone's going to trouble him? I mean, Fonseca, we haven't seen much of him yet this year. I don't think necessarily that a Kachanov could do it. And even Ben Shelton hasn't necessarily been a staple doing well and playing his best tennis. So are we looking at anyone causing an upset, and are we struggling to decide who's going to make it to the quarterfinal with this section?
I mean,
I don't think it really matters who faces Sinner. I think
someone.
it's
someone will play him. I think
someone will play him, and someone will lose to him. I think. I think his draw is very, very decent. I think, Fonseca Sinner would be very interesting in round 3, but as you said, it sounds like there are kind of back issues with Fonseca, so I don't know how fully fit he is. But yeah, it feels like it is Sinner's
to lose.
Sinner's to lose.
What about Vachereau, Kim? First slam since he became a 1,000 title winner. Is he going to put on a show? You weren't sure he was going to have a bumper year.
Oh, I think he might be going out first round. He's got a qualifier / lucky loser.
He's going out to Manarino in the second round, Kim, I think is what you were meant to be saying.
Or to Rinky, Aussie wildcard, Rinky Chikata could be against him. I don't think Vachereau is going to do.
He's going to win the title now you said that. I'm sure.
He's got form. He's got previous.
He's like, hold my mic.
Do it at 1,000. Why not at 2,000? Yeah.
I do enjoy the fact at the top of this draw, it is like Ben Shelton versus Team France.
Ugo Humbert, Gael Monfils there, Manarino. I mean,
for Shelton, Ugo Humbert is also not that's an terrible draw.
Yeah, not an easy customer first up.
And I was really impressed with what we saw at UTS. I feel like he's back with Shardy. He's much more comfortable. He's been playing some great tennis in Adelaide into the semi-finals. I wouldn't be surprised if he walked away with the title. And that might be good for Shelton because we all know the curse of winning a 500 before a slam. You're going out in round 1. So I think maybe he should probably maybe pull out of that semi-final and get himself over to Melbourne and get prepared because Shelton is a pretty tough first round for him as well.
Well, I do think that it's time to make some predictions because we've just had a look at all the quarters. It sounds like Sinner's got a fairly easy path, but he, he's a 2-time defending champion. Will he make it 3? Right, we're going to do quarter by quarter. So I'm going to, let's do, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And we shall reveal before we get on to semis, finals, and champs. And we've also got a little bold prediction that we'll share as well with everyone. Right. Are you ready? Quarter 1, Joel.
I've got Alcaraz, Bublik, Norrie, Medvedev, Lehechka, Menchik, Nurchekaffer, and Shelton Sinner.
Okay, so Cam Norrie, another Grand Slam quarter final. I mean, I'd love that to happen. Chris, who are your quarters?
I have just changed something.
Oh,
I've changed it already. Am I allowed to?
Absolutely.
I just thought I've got to back the Aussie. I've got to back De Minaur in the Battle of the Alexes. I think he lost out in Roland Garros. So I've got Alcaraz De Minaur because I did also say he was going to have like a match point or be up against Sinner or Alcaraz. De Minaur would be in Australia, then he'd lose it. So I'm sticking with that from the predictions at the start of the year. Cerundolo Medvedev. I've actually lost the plot here. Tsitsipas Hurkacz. Humbert Baez. Oh, sorry. No, sorry.
Where's Sinner?
sorry. Brackets, Sinner. I should have clarified. Sinner.
Okay, well, I've gone Alcaraz as well, and I've gone for Bublik over ADM. I've gone for Zverev. I always go for Zverev.
He's not done anything recently.
I know. Kim. I don't look at the form. I just think, well, he scraped through before, and it tends to end up getting to like the quarters. So I've gone for Zverev and Medvedev, as I do think Medvedev's back in the ascendancy somewhat. I've also gone for Fritz. Fritz Djokovic. I mean, we'll see. And then Rude Sinner. So kind of mine are fairly conventional, I think, old school. Okay, semi-finals then. So I'm the only one going for Djokovic here. I've just noticed, so it's interesting. Semi-finals then, Joel.
Well, I'm going to give you my semi-finals, finals, and champion.
Go all the way.
I'm going to go all the way
through.
Tell
us it all.
Bublik, Medvedev, Lehechka, Sinner, in my semi-finals, and I've got my final as Daniil Medvedev. Daniil Medvedev versus Jannik Sinner, and I've got Jannik Sinner as my champion.
So you are believing that Bublik will beat Carlos Alcaraz?
I'm believing in Bublik,
Wait,
but I'm
sorry?
also not sure because 20 minutes ago I was like, I was questioning his best of 5 mentality.
Sorry, yeah, you really have done a big change there, Joel.
There's a big 180.
Have you been having some woo-woos before recording? Okay, Chris, semis to champ. Who's doing it for you?
I've gone Alcaraz versus Medvedev, and I've gone for. I mean, this can't even be true. I put Djokovic Sinner, but I've had him going out already.
Hang on, yeah.
You might need to come back to me. I'm going to have to make it on the spot, and I'm going to say it's going to be her catch Sinner.
Oh, I'd love that. Okay. And then
I've got to keep going, haven't I?
Yeah, I think so.
So Alcaraz Sinner in the final, and Alcaraz winning because he's going to complete the career Grand Slam in Australia.
Lovely.
I think Roger Federer's put the mockers on that. If I'm being honest, because he it sounds like he's Team Alcaraz in the build up, and I think he's put the curse on him. But anyway.
I mean, I'm just enjoying your spelling of her catch on our little predictions.
I think
chart.
I've spelt it in 3 different ways in my
It's like
prediction.
Katz's Deli in New York. You've put that on the end, but there's a lot of Z's going. I mean, yeah, anyway. My semi-finals, I've gone for Alcaraz versus Medvedev, and I've gone for Fritz Sinner.
Fritz!
Sorry, Kim. You fully lost the plot.
I know. Well, do you know what? I thought Fritz Djokovic. I think Djokovic is going to withdraw from that or retire with injury or something. And Fritz will finally get that victory over Djokovic that he should have had many, many years ago.
There's a lot of explaining for this one.
Injured.
If, buts, and maybes, Kim.
I know. I've got the same final as Joel, Medvedev Sinner. So I think
that's never going to happen then.
Alcaraz.
Surely you should know that was a bad sign.
I've gone for Sinner winning 3 in a row.
Yeah.
So I think we've got 2 Sinners and an Alcaraz for our winner.
Right. So I am. You've really gone for Medvedev having an immediate resurgence, you two. You've just jumped on that bandwagon. He won a 250.
Well, hang on. He's not won in the city of Melbourne yet.
That's true, he hasn't.
That's true.
So he needs to find another city to add.
Is that the bold prediction? That would be very bold.
Yeah, so what were your bold predictions? I mean, mine isn't really that bold. It's just that Djokovic will withdraw or retire and Medvedev's beating Alcaraz. I don't know if that classifies as bold, but what was yours, Joel?
I had Bublik. Bublik defeating Alcaraz. I've got Shelton out in round 1. I've got De Minaur going out in round 1.
These are too quick. What's the boldest one you have going? Bublik taking out Alcaraz.
Okay, Bublik taking out Alcaraz. And I've also put, it's not really bold, but hard court specialist Sebastian Baez is making round 3.
Oh.
Okay. Chris, what's your bold option?
I believe there will be more than one player going undefeated. I think Casper Ruud is going to go undefeated. He's going to be on court. He's going to get a call that Maria is in labour and he's going to hop on a plane immediately back to Norway. So I don't think he's going to complete the tournament. So that's my bold prediction. I think Casper will have a shortened stint down under.
Dramatic scenes. I mean, I've got him in the quarterfinal, but then losing to Sinner. But you'd rather rush off, wouldn't you, for the birth of your first?
He might be
child,
distracted, Kim, is what I'm thinking. There are other things at work for him.
Absolutely. Well, let's see. We're going to take a very quick break now. Do join us in the second half where we'll be discussing the women's draw, unveiling our women's predictions, and also our collect a set player picks. So do not go anywhere. Welcome back to the Tennis Weekly podcast and our Australian Open draw reaction brought to you by AO Travel and Experiences. We are going to now look at the women's draw, which obviously Aryna Sabalenka is the top seed and she headlines it. She's up at the top of the draw in a quarter with a certain Emma Raducanu, which is, most interesting for British fans. Obviously, they had a great match at Wimbledon last year, so we'll have to see if they make it through to play each other in the third round. We've also got Victoria Mboko in this section. Clara Towson of of Denmark, Chris.
Yes.
Jasmine Paolini down at the bottom, but perhaps maybe more in form. Marta Kostyuk is here, and also the young Eva Jovic as well. So quite an interesting section. What are your thoughts? Sabalenka's draw. How do you think she's going to fare, Chris?
Well, I mean, she's got a pretty good draw, I would say. I think Pavlyuchenkova in the second round could be quite tricky. They've had some pretty good contests, and Sabalenka, I mean, when she plays against Pavlyuchenkova, she doesn't get it all her own way. So I think that would be an engaging contest if it happens. I'm not sure that Raducanu's in the form where she would potentially be giving Sabalenka problems. Clara Tauson actually did withdraw from she retired already this season in a match. So I think that's a pretty good 14 seed draw for Sabalenka, someone who does have those question marks about fitness. But Victoria Mboko could be a very, very exciting matchup. That could be in the fourth round with Sabalenka. So I'm kind of hoping that we get that one, not because I hope Emma doesn't do well, but I do just think that the Mboko story is already picking up momentum this year, and I'd love to see her challenge. She beat last year's AO champion. Can she beat the year before and world number one? I think that would be quite the story in Melbourne.
Yeah, she's had a few months sort of in the wilderness, and it seems like she's got back up to when she burst onto the radar last summer, I think it was. I mean, Emma Raducanu, Joel, is she ever gonna, is she gonna make it to Sabalenka? She may actually play one of your favourites, Susan Lamons, in the second round. Are you really hoping that is takes to the court?
I mean, I am hoping, yeah, she makes round 3. I don't think it was particularly great losing to a local wildcard in Hobart in the quarterfinals. So if she makes it to round 3 and gives a good performance against Sabalenka, I think that is the most I think we can realistically hope for.
It's a tough draw, though, isn't it, Joel?
It is a tough draw.
She does get sort of Sabalenka early on quite often. She's been pretty unlucky, especially being seeded now. You'd hope she got a bit more luck, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think last year we were always kind of speaking about Raducanu on the cusp of being seeded for slams, and that was probably one of the reasons why we were so frustrated with at times her scheduling. So yeah, it was maybe a touch unfortunate that she's been drawn so close perhaps to Sabalenka, but they did have a great match at Wimbledon, and it was such box office entertainment. I would love to see that sort of level of energy again. One other match I would just call out. Yes, I would love to see Sabalenka versus Mboko, but Mboko versus Clara Tauson in the round before, I think also could be quite a fascinating up-and-comer type matchup as well. So, I think it's more interesting in that top half than that bottom half.
We haven't mentioned anything from that.
I think that says
half.
Quite a bit, doesn't it?
I mean, it's hard to see who would come through that. You'd have to probably look for Jasmine Paolini being the form player. She's not necessarily a player.
Not Kostyuk?
Well, Kostyuk, actually, yeah, that's true. She has had some good form. I'm looking for a story in this section. I'd like to see an exciting, a wild card run. I'm thinking a qualifier. I'm thinking Priscilla Hon. This could be the time to do something special. But yeah, it's hard to see in this section Sabalenka having problems if she does make it, to the quarterfinals. I think it would almost be like the carpet would be rolled out for her to go to the semis.
Well, and the final. I mean, statistically, in the last, if you look at all the stats in the last 3 years, she's got to the final of every tournament she's played in Australia. And in terms of hard court slams, she's got to the final of the last 6. So kind of,
quite formidable.
Yeah. It's hard to say she's not going to get there, bar, injury or some outbreak, outstanding performance. But looking at that draw, we think she's fairly safe. Quarter 2, though, Coco Gauff, 3rd seed. We've got Mira Andreeva as the 8th seed in there. Svitolina, recent titleist. Mukova, Vondrousova.
I think Schneider as well.
Schneider.
This is stacked, isn't it?
Ayala, who I've, quite like to keep an eye on.
Krejcikova, just seen that. Krejcikova versus Diana Schneider, round 1, Joel. Who's winning that one?
Why has none of you said Venus Williams wildcard as well?
There's so much to take in.
Yeah, stacked. I mean, yeah, where do we start? Coco Gauff. I mean, she's former semi-finalist here, got to the quarters last year. She did fairly well at the United Cup to start the year off. Do
Well,
we
not
think
against your favourite though,
Yeah.
Kim.
No, JBM, and JBM's in her little section of the draw here.
That could be a realistic prospect, I think, for round 3, I think.
Yeah, I think JBM could be on for the third round, but I mean, I'd like to see Coco against Venus.
Sorry, who is
round 2.
JBM?
Jessica Bouzas Monero.
Oh, is that what we're calling
Keep
her
up,
now?
Chris.
Sorry. Yes.
Basically, if you're a Spanish player with 3 parts to your name, we're taking your initials.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd like to see Goff Venus second round. That would be fun.
Yes, that would be
I hope it would be fun though. I'm a bit worried about that one.
One-way traffic.
I don't want it to be, too much one-way traffic. But at the same time, would I take Venus winning a match at a slam? I think that would be a wonderful story. I think we'd all like that. I was going to say, Joel, as well. I've got 2 matches I'd like your predictions for.
Yeah.
Specifically,
Here we go.
one of your faves, Mukova, obviously, against another one of your faves, the cape-wearing crusader, Jacqueline Christian, who's playing pretty well this year. I think that's going to be tight. I also thought Krejcikova Schneider's going to be tight. So I think, just to give you some, I'm going to think Schneider's going to come through and Christian's going to come through. So,
I'm the complete opposite. I've got Krejcikova sneaking through, and I've got Mukova coming through as well. I think Mukova could be a dark horse in this section of the draw, and I also quite like where Barbora Krejcikova is in the draw as well. I'm not really sure how she is unseeded. She shouldn't be based on her talents and her qualities, but that is a very tough lineup against Schneider. Schneider's playing well at the start of the season. Quite interesting. We're not really talking about Mira Andreeva. I mean, she sort of tailed off towards the end of last season. Had a great start, but it sort of fizzled out. Where do we see her at? I mean, she got Donna Vekic in the first round.
tough first round.
Yeah, I've not gone for Andreeva in my predictions.
Upset alert?
I just
Upset
think
alert.
at Slam, she hasn't really shown that sort of cutting edge mentality yet. I don't think.
Cutting edge. Sorry, doesn't that mean like do you mean cutthroat?
Cutthroat. That is so what I meant.
Yeah.
It's late. It's gone 11 p.m. I
Should be in bed, Kim.
My analogies all mixed up. I should be in bed with a herbal tea.
Cutting edge. It's like not at the forefront of technology.
Fashionable, mentality at Grand Slam tennis. I mean, I think that Svitolina could be a sort of solid one to go for in this section as well.
Yeah, she's going to be very motivated. We're not talking about Emma Navarro at all, are we? I think.
Oh, really?
We're unconvinced.
She could be an early.
I take
upset.
that back. Right.
I think she's going out to Lynette in first round.
I think Fran Jones could get a win.
That would be
got
huge
a qualifier.
for her. Yeah.
She could be up against, say, Svitolina round 2. That would be really cool. Interesting section. I think Coco probably will do enough to come through. We'll get to our predictions later. Let's move into the bottom half of the women's draw. JPEG, 6th seed, is here with Amanda Anisimova as the 4th seed. Defending champion Madison Keys is here as well as the 9th seed. I've also got another former champion in Sophia Kenin lurking here. Fernandez, Badosa, Noskova. Shramkova, yes, one of my faves. Janice Tien as well.
God, this is literally all of your faves in one place.
So I mean, is Amanda Anisimova gonna make the 3rd Grand Slam final on the trot? Do we think her draw's looking all right? What do you reckon?
Hard to do, don't you think? To make 3 finals in a row. None of us have necessarily predicted that in our preview episode. I don't think we did for the whole year. I don't think the start she's made has convinced me that she is going to do it again. She tends to be quite a form player. So I think she'll have to play herself into form. But the question is, Joel, does she have a draw where she can play herself into form, do you think?
I do think so. I think she's got a nice draw. Maybe not necessarily, Grand Slam final. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think where she is, there are some big names there like Yelena Ostapenko, but again, I don't think they are at maybe the top of their powers at the moment. I think there are injury concerns, maybe around Linda Noskova, I think I was reading.
Yes.
So I think she's in a good part of this quarter. She can let Keys, Badosa, Pegula kind of duke it out, and I think she could maybe go in a little bit under the radar from where she is.
Oh, but I was calling this the Sloane Stephens section of the draw because this is where Sloane is. She is qualified and playing against Karolina Pliskova, who's making a return to the tour and Grand Slam tennis. Potentially, you know, in that section, there's Leylah Fernandez, Madison Keys. We could get a repeat of the 2017 US Open final. It's almost
and who wouldn't
10
want to
years
see
ago.
that?
I mean, I'm booking a flight, Joel, if that's the case. I don't necessarily think it will be, but having said that, JPEG is a player who we haven't talked about that much either. Haven't seen a huge amount of her yet this year. I've seen more on the podcast circuit from her and plugging the podcast than on the tennis court. Do we think that she might make another deep run? Is she going to be a consistent quarterfinalist in this section?
I've been really battling in my head in terms of, is this Jessica Pegula's part of the draw, or is this Madison Keys part of the draw? Because Madison Keys, defending champion.
Indeed.
I wonder how she's going to kind of come into this with, that mantle. I mean, how do you see her kind of defense going with the draw she's been in? She's the 9th seed. There are obviously quite a few Americans here. Would you still favour JPEG over Keys?
I don't see Keys' defense going particularly well. I think she'll be out to Fernandez myself, or even second round Kruger. I mean, I just don't. It's hard to defend the title. It doesn't happen very often. I don't see her doing particularly well.
I'm worried about the nerves, especially round one. I think it could be the unforced errors that do her for this, because it is so mental with her. She showed she could win it before. It could also go a completely opposite way, and she could just be so inspired being back somewhere she has such great memories. It could really relax her. So I'm really willing her on to do well. I really want her to have a really good and successful title defense. I'd love her to make it to second week. But at the same time, you know, it's tough. It really is tough. We've seen it so many times. When you win your first slam, it's really hard to have a good run after doing that.
Well, let's have a look finally at the last quarter, because Iga Swiatek is involved here. And we'll need to see who's going to make it through. Iga Swiatek, Elena Rybakina, Naomi Osaka is here, former champion, of course. Belinda Bencic, one of your faves, Chris, and Maya Joint as a seed for the first time at her home slam. Britain's Katie Boulter also lurking. I mean, Iga Swiatek, if she was to win here, she would get a career slam. She's very much like Alcaraz, just waiting to get the Australian Open ticked off. What do you make of her draw and her chances here? And I guess based on what we've seen of her lately, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I'm less concerned than Joel. I know that for sure. I think Iga has played very well down under. I think sometimes people look at her results and think, well, obviously she hasn't won this one. She has won all the others. It's her least successful slam. I actually think she played some of her best tennis here. I think she's played some of the early rounds have been absolutely impeccable from her in previous years. And then actually she's gotten into a bit of trouble later on. So I think it's a good draw. I don't think she's going to end up playing Naomi Osaka. I've not been convinced by Osaka at the start of this season. I think Iga is going to have a good deep run here. I'm already looking way ahead. Do you know the likes of Rybakina taking her on, or Bencic? I think that's where the test will really kick off for her, because I can't see too much trouble for her. I'd like to see Sonny Cartel take her on, maybe something like that. That would be very nice. I think that would be a good display of, you know, slice versus athleticism. So that would be great. But for me, I'm just thinking about who she's going to play when she makes the quarters.
Yeah, I did see Sonny Cartel, actually. She's up in against Kalinskaya opening round, and Boulter's got Bencic. So tough draws for the British girls here.
I mean, Kalinskaya, former quarterfinalist at the Australian Open, I think she could have some trouble for Iga Swiatek in the third round. And I do think we might see Swiatek versus Osaka. And I think that would be absolutely blockbuster. I mean, Osaka, when she was at her best, on hard courts, she's got good, got good
so
memories
dominant
here.
on hard courts at times.
I would love to see that matchup. I actually think we will get that matchup, but I'm not confident.
Will it deliver?
I think it will deliver a win for Naomi Osaka.
Oh, wait, Iga Swiatek's going out round 4 or before round 4?
Wait, hang on. Sorry. I need to...
Got to do the maths.
I'm going to do 180 there, very quick 180.
Wait, have you looked at your prediction?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, okay.
My prediction.
You love to
Sorry,
be
I got carried
for this section.
Yeah, it's hard
I got carried away here.
In Joel's defense, it's women,
we make it look hard though, don't we? We really do. But
unpredictable.
Rybakina, we'll get back on track here. Rybakina is number 5 seed here. So she's up again in the rankings, having won the end of season finals. We have seen players who've done well at the end of season finals go on to win the first slam. It's happened before. I remember, when Wozniacki won her only slam, she won the end of season championships the year before. Do we think that's something that could be replicated? Are we taking her as a very serious contender here? Because she always flies under the radar a little bit at the moment because she hasn't won a slam for so long. But when she's on, she's so on. But will she be on down under?
Yes.
Kim, I'm less sure. Yeah,
Kim.
I just think she always comes a cropper with a sort of, I don't know, if something comes up, injury or a dodgy performance. I don't know. A Dane in the wind, Chris, I think.
Yeah, a Dane in the wind was the problem, yes. Never underestimate them.
So I'm less sure. I mean, that brings us nicely on to our predictions. I'm going to do quarter by quarter again. So, Chris, I'll start with you this time.
I was hoping you wouldn't start with
your
last time.
Quarterfinals.
I had someone making the final who I hadn't had in the semi-finals. So, I'll give this one my best shot. I've gone Sabalenka Paolini. I've gone Gauff versus Diana Schneider. I'm saying Keys. I'm willing Keys with all of my might that she will take on Anisimova. And then I've got a blockbuster repeat of a match from earlier this year, Bencic versus Iga Swiatek.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, can see that. I'll go next. Keep the tension going for Joel's. I've got Sabalenka against Kostic, Gauff Svitolina, Fernandez Anisimova, and Maya Joint against Swiatek.
Nice.
So
nice balance, Kim.
Sorry, did you just say Maya Joint?
Yes, why not? She's a seed, and it's a home slam, and she's on the up.
You do like one rogue sort of prediction.
I have to get a rogue one in there.
I think that's a nice one.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Informed.
Can you beat that, Joel?
Highlight that on the draw. I've got Sabalenka Kostic as well. I've just put it in because I just want to see two people who I feel like they just hate each other, just again battle out on the tennis court. Sabalenka Kostic. I've got
Happy Slam.
Sorry, Happy Slam. I think that match is going to be the unhappy match. Right, okay, I need to stop fixating on that match. Sabalenka Kostic, Gauff Krejcikova, Pegula Anisimova, and Rybakina Swiatek. I got carried away with myself around Naomi Osaka, but I'm going to go Rybakina. I'm going to back what I put down this afternoon. Rybakina Swiatek.
Right,
so we've all got the top 4 seeds in there: Sabalenka, Gauff, Anisimova, and Swiatek. Okay, so who's making it through to the semis? Chris. Well, let's do semis to your champ.
Well, we've got Sabalenka Gauff. I think that's quite likely. I'm going with the seeds. Yeah. And then I actually think I've done it again. I think I put a player that I didn't have going through. I put Pegula Bencic, but I'm really having a bad one today.
Oh, that doesn't make sense.
No,
yeah.
I'm going to have to say Anisimova Bencic.
Okay. Right, okay. And who's in the final then?
Yes, I have Jannik Sinner. No, I have Sabalenka Bencic and Anne Lee. No, sorry, Sabalenka Bencic, and then Sabalenka's winning it.
Excellent. Okay, Sabalenka. So she's regaining her title.
Yeah. Yes. I have said that.
I have Sabalenka against Svitolina and Anisimova Swiatek as my semi-finalists.
I think that's very, very good prediction.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
I don't think Anisimova's making the final, though. I've got a Sabalenka Swiatek final with Sabalenka winning.
Their first.
We've never had
final,
that, have we?
Not. No.
We speak so little. It's so interesting how with the men's draw, we always speak about, are we going to get Carlos Alcaraz versus Jannik Sinner in a men's fight. We've sort of gone off a little bit of are we going to get Sabalenka Swiatek at a Grand Slam
1v2,
final?
yeah. Well, we're spoiled for choice when it comes to the women's game, aren't we? I mean, we so often all predict a different winner, don't we?
Joel,
Yes.
who have you got?
So in my semis, I've got Sabalenka Gauff and Anisimova Rybakina. And in my final, I've gone big here. Again, I was umming and ahhing. I've got Gauff taking out Sabalenka. I've got Coco Gauff in my final versus Elena Rybakina. And I've got Coco Gauff winning the Australian Open.
I would love to see that happen. That is some big upsets for you, Joel. Normally, you like to go with the seeds. So what happened at the start of 2026? A new resolution from you?
I just think, well, I know she had that blip against Jessica Buses-Monero, but when she was playing in the United Cup, I just felt that when it does all come together for Coco Gauff, she is a very tough customer to defeat. And I think it is a 50-50 matchup against Sabalenka in the semis. I really hope we do get that in the semi-finals, but I've just got something about maybe, kind of Coco Gauff. Going Coco Gauff.
Nice. So 2 Sabalenkas and a Gauff. And last but not least, our bold predictions. I have got Iva Jovic to make the 4th round, which I don't think is actually that bold.
She's seeded for round 3, Kim.
She's seeded for round 3, but I
was
say
Maya joint for a quarterfinal was probably a bolder prediction.
So they're the 2 sort of young standout breakthrough stars for me from this event.
One.
Chris?
I think Sloane is going to make second week. I may not have said it in my predictions. Well, let's say at least round 3 for Sloane. I think she's going to take out Pliskova and Fernandez. I think she's motivated. I think she's enjoying herself again, and I'd love to see it. And I also have, I have Osaka going out to Evelise. So that was one thing that I didn't say because I forgot.
Evelise she got to the round 4 last year, did she?
Well, she's handy.
Well last year.
Very handy. Yeah. So I had that, and then I said a bold prediction, Coco versus Venus in a night session on Ash. I think.
Oh, yes.
I really did go for it with these ones. So if any of those happen, I'll be thrilled.
And Joel, was your bold prediction just Gauff taking out
Not
Sabalenka?
going for the number 1 seed?
I'm also just going to add random one in there. Swiatek is going to get bageled by Naomi Osaka in one of the sets, but is going to win.
Oh, wow. Okay. So very up and down.
I just have a feeling Swiatek is going to have a match where she's going to get bageled, but still win.
Okay.
I think she has the capacity for some odd score lines. So, going with something like that.
Nice. Well, that does now bring us to our final section for today, which is our collector set. So for those of you who are new to the podcast or haven't played collector set before, it is our Grand Slam predictions challenge. We have 3 male players and 3 female players, and essentially, if you want to participate in the challenge, you need to tell us what round you think each of those players will get to at the Australian Open. And if you think they're going all the way to the final, you need to be clear about whether you think they're going to win or be the runner-up. So we have chosen our 6 picks for this tournament, which we are about to reveal. And then predictions will need to be in before the start of play on Sunday. So you've got a couple of days to get them in. And you can tell us all your predictions via any of our social channels. You can email us. You can Facebook, Instagram, X,
carrier pigeon,
etc. Carrier pigeon,
boomerang,
Telegram,
if you really want,
boomerang. Okay, and the prize is, of course, as alluded to earlier, an official Australian Open cap, thanks to our AO Travel and Experiences sponsor for our AO coverage. So massive thanks to them for providing that prize. And I think over to you both now to reveal our player picks. So Joel, who are the male player picks, please?
So the 3 male picks are Taylor Fritz, Daniil Medvedev, Alexander Bublik.
Okay, and Chris, our female picks.
Well, we have Susan Lamons, Sloane Stephens, and Jessica Buses-Monero. No, we don't. We don't. Please don't listen to me.
I mean, we could.
We could. We might. We would like to.
One day.
We have Aryna Sabalenka, Madison Keys, and Belinda Bencic.
So to summarize, we've got Taylor Fritz, Daniil Medvedev, Alexander Bublik, Aryna Sabalenka, Madison Keys, and Belinda Bencic. So get your predictions in before the start of play on Sunday. Tell us what round you think they're going to get to at the Australian Open. And we'll be revealing our picks as we go into next week on our first catch up on day one. Sunday evening, that is.
Yes.
Gosh,
Yeah,
yes,
we will
it's a
be
Sunday start.
It's a Sunday start.
Don't get caught out and send it in on Monday. We need to know on Sunday.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Daily coverage starts on Sunday. Australian Open coverage starts on Sunday. So do get your collector set picks in. We will be doing daily episodes throughout the course of the event across the 2 weeks. We will be doing daily catch-ups. So yeah, if you want to stay up to date, make sure you are subscribed to Tennis Weekly. But we're going to wrap up our Australian Open draw reaction episode here at Tennis Weekly HQ. We hope you've enjoyed the ride with us. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss a moment of action from the Australian Open with our daily coverage. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and all your favorite podcasting platforms out there.
And if you love what you're hearing, then be sure to leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube.
And as we've already said, there'll be plenty of competitions as well as content from us as we go daily throughout the Australian Open on social media. So do make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and X. We don't have to follow us on all of those, but make sure you follow us on at least one so you see what we are posting. And if you'd like to get your collector set picks in via email, it's tennisweeklypod@gmail.com, or you can enter at any of the social channels that I've already mentioned.
And we'll be back on Sunday for our Australian Open Day 1 catch-up brought to you by AO Travel and Experiences. But until then, it's goodbye from Kim.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from Chris.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time on Tennis Weekly.